Anyone can sell electronics. At Electronics Expo, they do more than sell products. They design, install, and support complete technology solutions. From home theaters and whole home audio to lighting, shades, automation, networking, security cameras, and premium entertainment systems. For over 22 years, they've helped thousands of homeowners experience technology at its very best. See the difference for yourself. Visit their Wayne or Paramus stores in New Jersey or shop now at electronicsexpo.com.
Listen, all you New Yorkers. Taxi!
Okay, we're looking around.
This is the 77 WABC minicast.
Big nonfiction best-selling author, the great Bill O'Reilly. Bill, you probably have heard just some blockbuster comments that we've just been listening to all with Michael Cohen here in the studio, who's joining us. By the way, your new show, I want to tell everybody, starts on Sunday, 5 to 6, When You Know, You Know. I love the name.
You like the name, right?
I love the name. Love the name, Michael.
Like Bill will tell you, when you know, you know.
Right, Bill? What do you think?
Well, the more information we can get about the Trump administration is better for the country. So you want people that know the rhythm of the president and how he does things, because that's usually not front and center. So I'm hoping the counselor brings very good, solid information, maybe get some scoops, and certainly it will be a worthwhile enterprise.
You know, Bill, one thing I wanted to ask Michael, too, while he's here still, also is about the Epstein thing. That was kind of interesting to me, because I had never heard sort of that the whole agenda of Letitia James and Alvin Bragg, you believe, was also Epstein, right? It seemed, right? Or at least they wanted information. They wanted
information initially. You know, when I was in Otisville and the DA's office came 3 times to speak to me, the first thing that they had asked is, what do you know about the Epstein file? And there was one case that I dealt with. It was a Jane Doe case. And that Jane Doe, mind you, there are more Jane Doe cases filed, and Your Honor, you'll turn around and acknowledge this one. There are more Jane Doe cases filed around the country than there are Ford F-150 pickup trucks.
Right.
They conflated multiple different Jane Doe cases to the one that I handled. The one that I handled came in, was put on my desk. I reached out to the lawyer. I reached out to an investigator. We sent somebody to the location. Turns out it wasn't a home. It wasn't an apartment building. It was a vacant lot. I contacted the lawyer. I said to him, you don't have a client, do you? So he goes, well, why would you say? I said, well, something just seems really off here. And he acknowledged he never met the client. Never met the client, that it was a referral from somebody else. I said, well, have you checked out the location? Because it's a vacant parking lot. So he said, no, I didn't. He goes, is that true? I said, check it out for yourself. He goes, I take your word for it. And he withdrew the case. That's where it started and stopped. Other than that, again, I have never met Jeffrey. I only live 10 blocks away from him. I'm not sure if I've ever eaten in the same restaurant at the same time. I never saw Jeffrey Epstein in the office. I never heard him on the phone. I never heard Trump even talk about him. The only conversation I ever had with Trump had to do with that Jane Doe case. Now, there's another Jane Doe case, the Katie Johnson Jane Doe case, completely different than mine. Even the Katie Johnson Jane Doe lawyer acknowledged I never met, never spoke with, never had any communication with anyone named Michael Cohen. But then you have people like a Tara Palmieri or a Lev Parnas and these folks, the far left, you know, they rage bait. They do that dopamine rage hit of hatred to come after anybody that pulls them off of the script because they're clickbaiting off of them. And they've figured out how to monetize this, even at the expense, whether it's the president or John Doe. It doesn't make a difference, and it's wrong.
It is wrong. And you know, Bill, Michael Cohen's hitting on a very powerful point about just the weaponization of anything tied to President Trump. I mean, we even saw it this weekend. I was in D.C. this weekend. I had the honor of being with the president in the Oval Office on Friday.
I can't wait till he invites me. Honestly, I really want to see what they've done. I also want to end up going there. I want to take a walk through the ballroom. You know, I've seen his construction over the course of my decade and a half with him. I've watched him put up buildings like Trump Chicago, Trump World Tower, Trump Park Avenue.
It's beautiful.
You name it. I've been there.
It's beautiful. And Bill, you know it's beautiful. And you also know, too, that this weaponization that the judge that we were talking about, and also obviously Michael Cohen, you even saw it over the weekend. I mean, there were people who couldn't say happy 250 years to America. I mean, it's incredible, Bill.
Yeah, I think there's a difference between those people and the system that the counsel rightly points out is profiting. Platner up in Maine is out. I don't know whether you guys got that information.
Yes, and in fact, Bill, let's when you say he's out, you saying he's out because of the new information that came out?
I don't know. But he's not running anymore. So
Bill, you're saying he's withdrawn?
Yeah. When did that, Bill? Because we saw the new details, of course, that just came out before about this woman accusing him.
Yeah. Well, the latest is that he is not going to run on the Democratic ticket. Now, I don't have any use for this guy at all, none. I think he's a destructive charlatan, but the accusation is the conviction. And so enough was enough, I guess, for his campaign, and they probably did a couple of snap polls, and he's finished.
Hey, Bill, Bill, let me ask you, just because I'm reading news here, it's saying that he's reflecting on the path forward. That he canceled a whole bunch of campaign events. Have you have heard, though, that indeed he has stepped away from the Democratic side? And I want to tell everybody, if I could, real quick, Bill, just because we didn't get to it at the top because we were lucky enough to have Michael here with us. But the news is that there was a woman who said in 2021 he raped her. And that was very serious. It's the first time we've heard of sexual assault allegations against him. And it was a woman he dated. She's a Democrat. She said, I support him politically. I know who he is. Obviously I'm a Democrat and I like him. But this is what happened. And she gave pretty graphic details. And I walked in when I saw John and the judge here a few minutes ago. I said, this is so damning. But you have seen, I see that he's saying he's trying to figure out where he's going.
The reporting I'm looking at from The Hill, NPR, other places saying he's taking the time to weigh the path forward, the best path forward.
You know that on the Friday show with John, I turned around and I said, I'm walking away, which I am, and I have done. I'm walking away from the Democratic Party and registering as an independent because I do not want to be affiliated to any party that's willing to take a guy like Platner, an anti-Semite to the nth degree, now an alleged rapist. I want nothing to do with any party that's willing to back somebody like him. I agree. It's disgusting. And Bill, don't you agree? I mean, with Michael, it is shocking. The fact that there was the other woman who he dated, she says that it was domestic violence, essentially, that he held her back. He put her, grabbed her shoulder, pushed her, locked her in a room. But this is now a sexual assault allegation. I mean, Bill, it is shocking that it took this for him to reflect on his campaign.
Well, number one, Rita, whenever you hear a politician use the word reflecting, you know he's finished.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Okay? If you're reflecting, you're out. I think Politico is reporting that he's out, but I don't know. And I don't know anything about the case at all. But I do know that this is an epidemic, and the accusation is a conviction on anybody they want to hit. And obviously this guy Platner, they wanted him out because the polling shows that Susan Collins is pulling ahead. So I don't know whether, Democrats did it or Republicans did it. I don't know who the woman is. I don't know anything about it. I mean, we'll find out, I guess. But isn't it strange that after all of the publicity this guy gets, it takes this long?
Right? It is. If somebody had said to me years ago, guys, like somebody with a Nazi tattoo, and it's a Totenkopf tattoo, I'm not Jewish, but to me,
well, I am, and I'm the son of a Holocaust survivor, named after my great grandfather, who was killed literally when the Nazis came to the house. So let me be very clear to my former Democratic Party. Shame on you for backing somebody like that. And you know what? On top of that, now with this alleged sexual assault allegations, look how fast that they are to turn around and point their finger at everybody else, right? They're so fast to point at everybody, except their backing of Platner. I never understood it. This party, and then with now these Democratic Socialists, a concept I don't understand at all. Maybe the great Bill O'Reilly can enlighten me because I'm a little bit let's just say, misinformed on what the hell it even means.
Yeah, Bill, where is this going? I mean, you hear all these vile anti-Israel claims from the Democratic Socialists. You got a guy with a Nazi tattoo. Where is the party going?
Well, number one, the situation is urban. So it's centered in the urban areas, and it's communism. It's not social. I love this socialism, democratic socialism. That does not exist. There's never been a party named after it. They don't exist here. The mugwumps did. They're not around anymore, but they're communists. And, they really should be ashamed of himself, the leader of the gang, and that's Bernie Sanders. So Bernie Sanders went to Maine, went there, Jewish man, okay, and endorsed this guy. And then when they press, maybe the three of them that actually asked questions said, well, wait a minute, the guy's got an SS tattoo on his shirt, on his chest. What do you think? Some gobbledygook. But Bernie Sanders is the leader of this party. I wrote a column about how the communists, because that's what they are, they're not democratic socialists once again, they went after Schumer, and they got him. Schumer, if you like Chuck, you better eat up his last 2 years because he's done. Absolutely done. He's not going to get any support from the Democratic Party. Ocasio-Cortez is going to beat him, and beat him badly. And I don't think Chucky is even going to bother with it. I think he'll retire. But they'll do anything. If you read my book, Confronting Evil, they'll turn on their own. I mean, Sanders didn't. Sanders went up there and tried to prop this guy up because he wants to win the Senate for the midterms. But most of the communists will turn on their own if you don't pass the doctrinaire test. And that's what we're seeing in this country. And you know what, Rita, you know me a long time. I'm surprised. I did not predict this. I figured the progressive movement would stay in their little jar. Soros would continue to pump it in hundreds of millions of dollars into the campaign, and they would be happy with getting the most radical people elected. That's what I thought would happen. But once Mamdani won, this is morphed into a national movement to replace capitalism with communism. It will fail. It will fail because most Americans don't want this. But a lot of Americans are asleep right now. You got to wake up and find out what's going on here.
Well, the difference between socialists and communists, I've always said that communists are carrying guns. And if they're communists, let them carry guns and let's have a gunfight.
Well, the difference is that socialists say, and there are socialists all over Europe, we don't want to take your property. Okay, we believe in private property. That's what they say. Communists do not. So Mamdani, very shrewd. He's already, into the apartment complexes, the rent freezes. He's going to try to take over transportation. As I told John a couple of weeks ago, he's going to try to take over food distribution. That is called means of production. Communists want to run means of production. That's what they do in China. Putin does it, okay? That's what they do in North Korea and in Cuba. The government runs all of that. So you, needing these things, you got a place to live, you got to have supper, are dependent totally on the communist politicians who run the show. So I hope, Counselor, that clears it up a little bit.
Yeah, I actually felt the exact same way, where the Democratic Party, they turn so quickly on one another, whether...
It all started with President Obama. Never forget that. And never forget whose ring he kissed after he became president. Okay? Bill O'Reilly, thank you for coming on. We got to move on, and we need a break.
Yeah, Bill, thank you very much,
so
Bill.
much. And,
Okay, guys.
Thank you. We love you, Bill. Thank you.
Thank you.
Right. So long.